Good evening, St. Michael North. How are you feeling tonight? It is my distinct honor and privilege to open the baton tonight. So I have to get y'all hype. Y'all ready and ready? All right. Are we bringing home New York on February 11th? I hear you. Are we bringing home Santia Bradshaw? Are we bringing home Marsha Cattle? Are we bringing home Kurt Humphrey? I should have said sexy Kurt. Not true, Sweet Lou? All right. Are we bringing home Trevor Prescott? Are we bringing home Davidson Ishmael? But of course, are we bringing home the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Amor Motley? All right, I think y'all ready. Now, when I was asked to come and speak tonight, I really felt that I had to come and speak about my history in this constituency, because I have a lot of friends in the area. I spent a lot of time in Eden Lodge, spent a lot of time playing basketball at UE. I spent a lot of time on Whitehall. I spent a lot of time in Well Gap. And these communities, as Brother Daddy said, are very strong communities, binded by sports, music. The culture is rich. And it would be remiss of me if I did not mention, obviously, the housing estates. As I am housing minister, I care passionately and deeply about our housing estates. And tonight, I will tell you a little bit about what I have planned. But first and foremost, we have to recognize that the political history of this constituency is steeped with excellent representation. And there's a man that comes to mind. You know him very, very, very well. His name is Ronald Topping. He provided the foundations of excellent, stable representation. I remember I had the privilege of canvassing with Mr. Topping in the St. George North by-election. And Ronald loved canvassing. He told me, Gibbs, boy, this is what I love. I don't really like speaking so much, you know. I like going house to house and talking with the people, speaking to the people, getting to know them. And I learned a lot from him in that by-election. And I'm sure that through his stellar representation, a young Davidson, who is actually the youngest member of parliament, right, Davidson? I think you're the youngest. And the youngest minister as well. And he has learned a lot from Ronald. And Ronald set the pace real hot. So Davidson, I hope you could keep up with that pace. But honestly, he was a man of the people. Now, it's not remiss of me to mention that Davidson started a health and wellness Get Fit program in this constituency. And I can recall him, even before he became Minister of Health, he was out here, probably out here, I'm not sure where it was, but I used to see it on Instagram. And he would be working out. I remember him telling me and Kurt, yeah, Kurt, you gotta come out. Chris, you gotta come out. We do some push-ups. Davidson, I will challenge you there. But I know that you feel passionately about tackling NCDs. And that is a promise that is in our manifesto as well. Because I could tell you that when I first came in 2022, and I look fit and thing, right? But I made it a point to the people that I would visit them where they were every day. Because I didn't want them to think that as I got in, I gone. So I would visit the rum shops and lime and thing. And you know when you drink a little rum, you can eat some fried chicken too. So I ate a little bit too much fried chicken, even though I wasn't showing it. But I went to the doctor and I got a blood test. And the doctor said, boy, Chris, you look good, but your blood pressure, borderline. Your cholesterol, borderline. In fact, everything about you, borderline. You got to do something about that. So I took it seriously. And the thing is that when I went back and lime in my communities as well, I made a point to speak to the fellas there And I would tell them, go out and get checked. Because you can't look at me and tell that I would have those issues. And the truth is that if I follow down that path, I would then end up with diabetes or something like that. So Davidson, I commend you for, first of all, starting that program in these communities and bringing awareness to the issue of NCDs. And you actually foreshadowed your position as minister in the Ministry of Health. And I commend you for that. You must have felt something. You must have had a sixth sense to do this, because now you lead that charge on behalf of this nation. And I can tell you that if we take that seriously, we can relieve the burden of the visits at the A&E. And you will also see in our manifesto that we are going to strengthen the polyclinics. And Davidson, I don't mean to steal your thunder tonight, because I'm sure that you're going to talk about all of this. But I know that you're doing such great work here that I just have to put in a plug for you. And in strengthening the polyclinics, our manifesto promises to make them into community wellness centers. And that is key to relieving the pressure on the QEH. I also want to commend you, Davidson, and the Honorable, most Honorable, Dr. Jerome Walcott, in securing the money, the loans, to be able to expand the QEH so that we can get a lot more state-of-the-art facilities in there. And that is testament to this government and its commitment to the people. Because when our Honorable Prime Minister goes overseas, and she travels all over, you hear Ralph talking about, oh, she's traveling too much. But he's just jealous. Because when she goes to these countries, they love her. They really love her. They see her, and they ask her, how much? They're ready to write the check, but right there, pull the check, but ready to write the check. How much you want? And she gets these loans and grants for the betterment of Barbados. These loans are not used for wages and salaries, like the last fellas. I can tell you guys, when I had the privilege of serving as the chairman of the Barbados Tourism Investment Inc., under the Honorable Prime Minister in the Prime Minister's office, one of the first projects that I was responsible for was the Constitution River Phase 3, which is a flood mitigation project and a beautification project as well. But the thing about that project is that project was sitting down for a couple years. The money went in the central bank. The foreign exchange was exchanged from the CDB. But guess what? The foreign exchange reserve was so low that the Dems just say, yeah, we can do this project. They put the money in there and then do the project. So it took us to come in now and execute those projects. Guess what? Constitution Phase 3, done. And you can see it coming right up to the globe. And that will unleash economic development in that corridor. What we also did was Salt Pond Phase 3, which is flood mitigation for Spikestown. And that was another CDB project that was sitting down there. And they did the same thing again, just padding the foreign reserves, because it's like it was on a foreign reserve high. Just want to get as much as they could. The foreign reserve was so low that a gentle breeze or a sneeze will knock it down to zero. So our Prime Minister has done very well in securing these loans and grants such that we can execute these projects for development of this country. And I want to commend you again, Davidson, for that. But in addition to that, I have to talk about the estates, as I'm the housing minister. And I can tell you, I've been a minister for 5 months. But the thing about it is that in that 5 months, we have come up with some very innovative ways to be able to empower people with home ownership. And I can tell you that, you see these terrace units here? People want title, especially those who have held them for 20 years. And what we did is that we came up with a vesting bill. And in that vesting bill, we will vest those properties directly to people, right? Directly to people. Clean title, because when you get it from Parliament, it's clean, 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 clean. Nobody can challenge it. So let me tell you, what does that do for you? Horace, what does that do for you? Because I was pleased to announce to you, Mr. Bailey, that you in Fernie Hurst will receive title to your property. You can clap for that. Because guess what he could do? He could go to the bank. Not that you need to go to the bank, sir. But those who want to educate their children, you could go and get a loan. And that is empowerment. And that is what the Barbados Labour Party is about. Empowering the people. And that's why I'm here. That's why I feel as though I'm home. And Brother Daddy told you before that my journey to politics was, a little different because I was young and not politically minded. And to tell you the honest truth, my parents were staunch Dems. And I met a lady called Mia Motley back in 2013. And she came to me, and she had just become the opposition leader. And she said, Chris, I want you to work with me. And I said, when you want me to start? Honestly, from then, she had me. She had me at hello. I said this yesterday. And the thing about it is that the vision, I saw that vision from then, the vision that she had for this country. I really bought into that vision. And you can see it taking hold. So, in terms of the property, so far, we will be able to invest 204 units into people. And that is what it means when we say, when labor leads, we like when I don't know it, Bayesian succeed. That's what it means, is empowerment. We have been empowering people since Bradley Adams. Is the truth. When he was instrumental in bringing in universal adult suffrage. And then Tom brought in the Freehold Tenantries Purchase Act. And we still manipulate that to this day. In fact, one of the first actions that I got to do in Parliament as a minister is empower people at River Bay. 7 elderly people. I transferred the Parliament of Barbados to a resolution, transferred those properties up in River Bay to those elderly people who had occupied those lands for decades. Right? They were disadvantaged for decades. And I was able to transfer those lands to those elderly people for free. And I told my brother Peter Phillips, brother, I felt so good to be able to do that for your people up there. And you heard Colin say at his national meeting that he was very proud to say that he would be able to do the same to the people of Six Men's through the Six Men's Life Improvement Project. So we keep surveying those properties every day and transferring, empowering people. That is what it is about. That is the low-hanging fruit. And I've been in housing minister for 5 months. I don't have to build a brick. I can empower people in that way through creativity, innovative legislation led by our Prime Minister. And that's the truth. And that's what it means to be under our Prime Minister. She ain't got no patience in the time. She said, I ain't got no time for no one. Before, they would have to convey one at a time. And guess what? You, the tenants, would have to pay the legal fees. But under this innovative bill, there are no legal fees involved. It's just a straight transfer. And that is so beautiful to me. And what I respect about the vision of the PM is that from the time she came in, she hit the ground running. And she built relationships with the African Union, with the South American countries. And this is important because you see what's going on in the North. You see what's going on with the fella up there. He acting up. And we cannot rely on those partners like we used to. So we have to diversify all of our links in trade and tourism. So as such, our Prime Minister decided that we were going to leverage our cultural assets and our cultural heritage to be able to do so. This is why you see the National Performing Arts Center up there at Newton. This is why you see the monument at Newton, which recognizes all of those, the slave burial grounds. Because the truth is we cannot rely on sun, sea, and sand like we used to before, especially with climate change. So the truth of the matter is we need to encourage different type of tourists about here and strengthen the ties with our African brothers and sisters. Because the truth is, Barbados was the stop-off for nefarious reasons, the slave trade, but we get to redefine that history of who we are. And we get to say, Barbados is the first stop-off for our African brothers and sisters to celebrate the journey of discovering our roots. And the truth of the matter is, what does it mean to be Bajan strong? And that is what we want to export to the world again. This is our cultural heritage. Brother Daddy said it. It is steeped in our music, in our traditions, in the sayings that your grandmother and your grandfather would say. We cannot lose these things. And Beijing Strongs is a celebration of all these things. And we need to share this with the world because we can make money off of it too. That is why we have invested in the creative economy as well. We have brought the copyright bill, now the Copyright Act. It was brought by the Honorable Kerry Simmons on the floor of Parliament, where we look at creative works as property as well. So you can pass it down to the next generation. If you want to be the next Picasso, then you don't have to, your Picasso died poor. And everybody get rich after he was dead. But we don't have to wait till you're dead no more. That property could be passed down. You could patent it. You could make royalties from it. And this is all a part of empowering people. So from the Tenantries Freehold Purchase Act all the way to innovative empowerment schemes, this Barbados Labour Party has been at work for the people of this country. And that is the message that I want to take to you today. That these are not frivolous things. These are troubling times. We are exposed to a lot of exogenous shocks in the world. We are a small island developing state. And quite frequently, we don't set anything. We're takers. But the strength and power of our Prime Minister on the world stage changes that equation a lot. I can tell you that. I had the privilege of attending COP30 in Brazil. And I sat with all the ministers of the South America, the Caribbean, North America, of housing. And we talked about building resilience in our housing stock. And I can tell you that the Prime Minister, she has said that you can have this money to be able to do general repairs on the housing estates this financial year and the next. And I can tell you, I'm pleased to tell you, that on the road to our 60th anniversary of independence, we will be going on a drive all over Barbados on beautifying these estates so that our people can live in dignity, in the dignity that you deserve. And the truth of the matter is that, yes, we're going to build. We're going to build. We're going to engage in joint ventures. And this year, so help me God, we will build affordable housing, resilient housing for the people of this country. But as I look forward, I'm looking back as well. I ain't forgetting the estates because we need to beautify them and we need to repair them and we need to get those roofs ready so that you're not as anxious when hurricane season comes along. And that is my creed to you, that I will work to be able to get this endeavor. So ladies and gentlemen, we are committed to you. Ministry of Housing will work hard. Hopefully, the Prime Minister said, don't be arrogant, be humble. I have to come to you to ask you permission to continue. Do I have that permission? Come February 11th, how are you voting? BLP! So, ladies and gentlemen, that is our creed. And the truth of the matter is that we're all in it together. And we will be our brothers and sisters keepers. And by the grace of God, we will make it through these tumultuous times. Thank you for having me tonight. God bless, and good night.